Hello everyone, I'm Chef Ron Locke, and today I want to talk to you about my brand new cookbook that'll be coming out in retail on May 26th called Get Cookin' with Chef Ron Locke. And I wanted to go ahead and take a little bit of a video review of the book so each of you can see what you'll be purchasing and receiving at your home. So there won't be as much of a surprise as it will be if you haven't obviously taken a look at it yourself. So let's go ahead and open up the book and show you exactly what you'll be getting in Get Cookin'. Alright, here is the front cover of Get Cookin' with Chef Ron Locke. Let's talk a little bit about the book and the cover first. The book itself is an 8-inch by 10-inch cover, and you will see as we open up the book and peruse through it a little bit how nice the typing and the font sizes are, and it makes for a lot better of an easy read than a lot of the real small print cookbooks that you see out there that you may own. Secondly, we have a soft bound glossy cover here, and the reason I went with a soft bound glossy cover is two reasons. First of all, I wanted a soft bound book because I don't know about y'all out there, but I know for myself in a lot of the hard bound books that I have, it makes for a very difficult time when you're trying to maneuver the book around when you're using it to try out the recipe, whatever recipe you want in it. There isn't a lot of flexibility. It gets very cumbersome. The book falls, it slams shut, you can't find where you were at again. It just makes for a real bad experience. So I went with the soft cover to make it a little more flexible for you to use in the kitchen itself. Okay. Secondly, I used a glossy cover because I wanted to go ahead and make something wipeable. Again, I don't know about y'all out there, but when I'm in the kitchen, I tend to make a mess, and things tend to splatter and fly all over the place. And I have actually ruined a couple hard copy books, the covers, because things got spilled or splattered on them, and I couldn't wipe them off because of the nature of the cover itself. It wasn't very wipeable. This is a nice wipeable surface. You just get yourself a nice kitchen cloth and you just wipe it off if you happen to have a spill or something on there itself. All right, so that's the actual front of the book itself. You can see here that it's got a nice spine, and we'll get to the back in just a moment here. Okay, so let's go ahead now and flip through the book and show you just a little bit. And let's go ahead, and the beginning parts of this book are just a little bit of intro. Now this is the table of contents. I have 25 short stories and recipes in this book, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Okay, let's go to page 6. This is my dedication to my brother. Page 7 is acknowledgments of people who've helped me along the way. I've got an introduction on page 8, and then we go to page 9, which is the first recipe. This is the old-fashioned pot roast recipe that I have. This is the very first chapter, and how the book is broken down is we first start off with one page of history about the recipe that's being introduced into the book. So we've got 25 little histories of each of the recipes, the 25 recipes that are in here. And so this has a little bit of history and trivia about pot roast on page 9. And then we go over to page 10, and this is chapter 1. And again, like I said, this is actually going to be our old-fashioned pot roast recipe, but I have included a little bit of a short story for each one of the recipes. This particular story is called Pot Roast and the Graduate, and just to tell you real briefly about this one is about a good friend of mine who had just graduated from law school, and myself and some friends were going to go ahead and throw him a party. Well, his family had other plans, and so some issues ensue, and the story gets very interesting, and you'll just have to buy the book to see how it all turns out in the end. They're very cute short stories. They're very personal stories of mine, and ones that I think that really just defined my steps along the way in my catering and culinary world, and also they're just good people, heartfelt, positive stories. I try to make some good motivational stories out of each of these of experiences that I've had, because I've had many experiences with many recipes of mine. So anyway, that's the quick short story here. All right, then we go to page 12, and you can see here, this is the actual recipe where we start here, old-fashioned pot roast in nice big letters. Now if you notice up here, you'll see that we've got basically what this visual is. It's from preparation to table, And this would be 4 hours from the time you start chopping vegetables to the time you're actually sitting down with your family, friends, or loved ones, or even yourself, enjoying this great pot roast. I do a little blurb about the pot roast itself. We have here the number of servings it gives you, and this really nice picture that we include here of each of the recipes itself, giving you an idea of what it should look like when you're done. We hope it looks like that when you're done, right? And then we go to the next page, page 13, which gives you a list of the ingredients here and a list of the directions of how to prepare the recipe itself. And here is very important. On the bottom here is called Chef Notes. This is where you make any notes, indications, or any sort of adaptations that you may want to make to the recipe that you want to add or take away from what I've included to create your own special recipe off of the book itself. Any notes, anything that you find that might be a little different than what you want to follow here. Now I want to talk a little bit about the page itself. The paper here itself is a matte finish paper. It's not a glossy paper. The reason I went with the matte instead of the glossy is because I wanted to be able to provide people to write in the chef notes here. And we all, a lot of us, write in cookbooks. I mark my cookbooks up all the time because I'm always making changes and additions and notes onto a recipe I try. So I wanted to make it so you could write into the book. If you have a glossy piece of paper, you're not going to be able to do that because the ink won't settle into the paper. It'll just smear, and pencil, forget it. It won't even write on a glossy piece of paper. And I'm sure a lot of you have already had an experience with that or two. So that's why I wanted a little more of a porous paper. So I kind of had to take away a little bit from the real glossy, showy pictures and such to make them pop out a little more, which I think the pictures still look great, by the way, to give it more functionality for you as the cook or chef out there to use this book for your advantage. All right, so let's go ahead and flip through here. Let's go to the centerfold of the book itself. There's some chapters here. You'll have to just buy the book and read it yourself. Okay, I guess I need to go a little bit back. Okay, here we go. This is what I call the centerfold, so to speak. This is basically a few pictures of myself, just basically showing you some photos of what I enjoy doing outside of the culinary world, because I think it's important that we all have our life's aspirations and goals and things we enjoy. And so I've just included a few little pictures and things that I like to do through the course of my life. As a little boy, fishing, to going, I like motorcycles there. Let's see here, the Air Force days, and just you'll have to buy the book and see the rest of it. But just a couple of sets of pictures here to show you, kind of just give you a little bit of what Chef Ron Locke has enjoyed over the course of his life and what he loves to do today. All right, so then let's go back. There's the rest of the recipes and stories and histories through here. Let's go toward the back of the book here. On page 142, you've got a nice kitchen conversion chart. Now what I've done is I've taken it and added in a few metric areas because I have a lot of friends that are overseas in Europe and Australia that use the metric system. So for here, I've taken things like I've done conversions for teaspoons and tablespoons to cups and fluid ounces and milliliters, and then we do Fahrenheit to Celsius for temperatures here, so you can do a conversion. We have ounces to pounds here, and then I've added a little bit of a nice freezer section here, the freezer lifespan, which basically will take you through a few recipes here, or through items that you might freeze in your freezer, and just give you kind of a guide of how many months you should keep them in. And it's through my experiences and also through some other experiences that other people had, and also some food recommendations too. So you might enjoy that as well. We've got an afterword, basically is what I sum up the book as, about the author if you want to know a little bit by myself. And then here at the end we have an index. Now a lot of indexes are different in cookbooks. I have a lot of cookbooks, so I decided let's go ahead and index this by ingredient, because generally you're going to go ahead and make something based on the ingredients that you have currently available. So say you want to have apples, you look for apples, and it will tell you the recipes in the book that you can use. Broccoli, cheese, and it goes on. And so basically what I've taken is every recipe and broken it down by ingredient. So every ingredient that would be used in a certain recipe will be in the index part of this book here. I think you'll really enjoy that. And at the very end of the book, we also have a couple pages for additional chef notes, because on some of the recipe pages itself, there may not be enough room. So I've just added a couple more pages for your convenience to just jot notes and things down for the recipes that you might want to include. And then we go to the back of the cover, and I just give a brief synopsis of the book itself. And that's pretty much it. That is your Get Cookin' with Chef Ron Lock. Well, that's it. That's Get Cookin' with Chef Ron Lock, the quick, fast, abridged version of it anyway. But go check this out. There's 25 wonderful hand-picked recipes from myself that I really enjoy. There's thousands of recipes that I have. These 25 are personal favorites of mine. Also, you'll find 25 pages of great history that will tell you a little bit about the recipe itself and how it originated, and a little fun and trivia along with that, and also the 25 short stories that go along with it as well. Personal short stories of mine that are very heartwarming, true, inspirational, and positive stories that have occurred along the path of my culinary career. And a lot of these stories, I think that you'll see probably some familiarity for yourself as well. I'll bet you a lot of you out there will probably identify with a lot of these stories because they're common stories that happen to all of us from time to time. And so I think that you'll be able to relate to a lot of what's in there. Try to keep them to 2 or 3 pages because I didn't want to bore you too much with the stories. And this will make a nice tabletop type of book as well that you can put on your coffee table or whatever. You know, cookbooks you normally wouldn't put out, but because of the stories and stuff, I think you're going to find that other people might find these entertaining as well. And the recipes are simply wonderful. If you've ever tried any of my recipes, and I know a lot of you out there have, you won't be disappointed. Trust me. So, what do you do next, right? Well, go on to www.getcookincookbook.com and order yourself a copy of Get Cookin' with Chef Ron Lock. And I think you're going to find that you're going to enjoy this cookbook more than maybe a lot of them that you currently have in your kitchen or in your home. All right, so that's all I wanted to do today, is just present my cookbook to you and hope that you will go ahead and find it as enjoyable and entertaining as it was for me to put this out for each of you. Because I didn't do this for myself. This is for you. This is for all of you out there who enjoy the culinary world and some cute little stories, some anecdote stories, and also a little bit of cookbook collecting fun. So I hope you enjoy this book. Thank you for your time. Get off that couch and get cooking.